You started out in the movies. You were a stunt woman, worked with horses. How did that come about, and how did you parlay that into an acting
Well,
career?
my father started me horseback riding when I was about 4 or 5 years old on English saddle. And I've always loved riding horses. And one day I was going to the Broadway Hollywood with my mother, and in those days they would park your car for you. And this man came up and parked the car, and I said, "Micah, you're Johnny Carpenter." He was a very famous B Western movie star.
And he was parking
And he was
valeting
parking
your car.
cars.
Okay.
And I was so thrilled to meet him, because and he was shocked that I knew. I was about 18, and 18 or 19, that I knew who he was. And he said, "Well, would you, we started talking about horses and how much I liked them, that I rode." And he still had his horses at stable down on Los Feliz and Riverside Drive. And he invited me down to ride, and I said, "Oh, I've never ridden Western before." And he said, well, we'll teach you how to ride Western. He said, "But all these years you've been riding English." I had a very good, as they referred to, a very good seat.
Right.
So,
okay.
It's
We
not-
won't take that anywhere.
it's seated upon a saddle.
Yes.
And so I suddenly started riding with his horses, and one day he always helped people with handicaps. And he was going to make a half-hour movie with blind boys who they're called the Blind Rhythm Boys. They had a small orchestra. And he said, "Would I be his leading lady?" And so I said, "Sure, why not? It's a little half-hour show." I'm still trying to find it. I know it's out there somewhere. It's on 35 millimeter. And so after that was shot, it was shown on television. A next-door neighbor who was a Brit in show business, a man who works at the studio,
Right.
whatever those men do. And he knew a very famous stuntman, Cliff Lyons. Cliff Lyons knew Yadimal Kanut.
Yeah.
And so they said, "Well, let's get this girl in." He said, "She not only can ride a horse, it looks like she can act also." Because I had to jump off the horse and yell, "Oh, the stage has been holed up," all that business, and cry. And
They went that way.
They went that way, but nobody knew that I could, do anything other than ride a horse.
Right.
And so that's how it happened. I just, by accident, one person, you meet another person.
Well,
Somebody knew
right.
the head of casting at Universal Studio and said, "Give her a union card." So I got
You were on your way.
I was on my way.
Oh, right,
Because
right.
once in those days, you got one union card, you were eligible to get the card for a Screen Actors Guild.
your SAG card.
And then I started in stunt business. I was in a movie called The Story of Molly X.
I remember that movie.
With
June Havoc.
June Havoc. I was her stunt.
John Russell, Charles McGraw.
I was her stunt girl. I had to climb a 15-foot fence that surrounded Tehachapi State Prison for women in Tehachapi, California.
All right.
And I had no idea what I was going to do. They thought I was a professional stunt girl. I'd only done a stunt on a horse, not on a fence.
Right.
I climbed 15 feet. But they took all the prisoners and put the prisoners on the other side of the prison so they wouldn't see how I was going to escape.
So how easy?
I didn't know how I was going to escape. But I managed to do it. I took a blanket, threw it over my shoulder, climbed up the fence where the fence joined.
Right.
It was easier to get my feet in where the fence joined together.
Sure.
And at that time, the barbed wire went out this way over your head, so I just simply threw the blanket over, somehow got over 3 feet of barbed wire.
And I think
And
I think you probably pioneered the invention of razor wire at some point.
Oh my God! I'm so grateful I didn't have razor wire in those days, just plain ordinary every day.
One of your early pictures, we showed Sudden Fear on opening night with Joan Crawford, and you were in, I think, Goodbye My Fancy,
Goodbye My Fancy.
with Joan Crawford in '51. Did you have any chance to observe her or talk to her at all, or even at a distance, Joan Crawford?
Well, I went there to Warner's. That was the first movie that I'd ever had a speaking part. And I had to have a screen test. So I'm standing up, on the stage. It's just a blank, just almost very much like this. There was nothing around me.
Right.
And Vincent Sherman was the director, and so I had two parts to read for. One was the very pleasant girl who was like the student body president, and then the drama student, which I ended up getting the part of Clarisse Carter, the drama student. That's the correct name, is it not, Clarisse Carter? And so while I'm going through all my lines, Vince Sherman is standing behind the camera, and up walks Joan Crawford. Now I mean, you're standing there doing a screen test. You don't know what you're doing, and up walks Joan Crawford, and I have to act in front of Joan Crawford. But she was I think she sort of picked me for the part.
Really?
Yes, I really think
she stood there and watched your test, and
I think so. And she was very fair and very lovely to me.
Yeah, well,
and she
was
didn't have a
most
reputation of being very nice to people.
Yeah,
and the one girl who's the lead actress, and I can't remember her name for the life of me right now, and she took a dislike to her. And when this girl would do her close-ups, Joan Crawford would put what they called a go-go. I think that was something that you'd put in front of a light to change the direction that the light would be in. And when it was Joan Crawford had to do a close-up with this girl, she took this go-go and put it in front of her face so she wouldn't have to look at her while she was doing it. Oh no, she wouldn't block it. Oh no, she put it in very.
Well, I remember my good friend Sherry Jackson, who we had here, and she was a
little girl.
Yes, little girl.
Very little girl.
Yeah, she was in That Woman is Dangerous with Joan Crawford. And said Crawford had like a little makeup table with mirrors and stuff right on the set. And she was watching when Crawford had this like a tooth appendage for her back teeth that she was fitting in. And so Sherry said, I was kind of standing there watching her, and Crawford was putting this into her mouth before the scene, and Crawford looked in the mirror and saw Sherry watching her and said, kid, you better remember something. This show business, this movie business, it's a tough racket. You better be tough. And I think that was Joan to a large extent.
She chewed gum all the time.
And
I don't know how she would stick it in, maybe a hollow tooth or something, but she knitted and chewed gum, and when the scene would come, she'd tuck in the knitting and tuck in the gum and go on with the scene. I don't know how she did it. And every day at lunchtime, she'd go into her dressing room, have her makeup completely removed, and put back on again fresh.
Yeah,
every day. And she was the littlest thing. I had no idea she was so tiny.
Yeah, she was just a little over 5 foot tall. She was very.
I was very lucky.
That's very good. Now, of course, Anne, you are remembered then, now, and forever for the original War of the Worlds in 1953 with Gene Barry. And everybody knows Anne Robinson from that. And I was really glad to see that TCM at their mega festival showed that, and they had you there, and they had you on the red carpet, which was sweet. But did you have any idea that War of the Worlds would stay with you basically the rest of your life? That it's Anne Robinson, War of the Worlds.
Well, it sort of started after the 25th anniversary. Up until that time, I had no idea that people were even interested in the movie or in me. And then somebody suggested, it's going to be 25 years. Why don't we have? We found like a re-premiere of it, or an anniversary.
Sure.
Because I think we found out that somehow War of the World, Paramount was going to re-release it, and so I thought this would be a good idea, having no idea that people would be so interested in it.
Oh yeah.
And from then on, I remember calling up Paramount Studio and asking for George Pal, and Gail, his secretary, answered the phone and said, Anne Robinson, War of the Worlds? And I said, oh yes, how are you, Gail? I'd like to talk with you. Just a minute, I'll tell George. And she came back to the phone, she said, well, he'll have to wait a few moments for him to get up off the floor to talk with you. They've been looking for me for 25 years. And I said,
now you haven't gone anywhere.
I hadn't gone anywhere.
Yeah.
It was almost like the joke when the same thing happened to me with Steven Spielberg.
Right.
They were looking for me. And I said, well, I'm with the Screen Actors Guild. There shouldn't be any difficulty in finding me.
Yeah.
And they said, do you have any idea what your telephone number is? No.
You don't call yourself very often.
No, I don't. He said, it's Madison, 85965. that's
The old
the old number.
Yeah.
They said Hollywood. I noticed the telephone number here today in the screen. It was a Hollywood number.
Yes,
We used to have that. My first telephone number was Gladstone 5024.
Now, I remember when not only, I think I went to the 25th or the 30th, I can't remember which anniversary of the Egyptian, and they had you there, Gene Barry, Les Tremaine.
That was the 25th anniversary.
Yeah,
I mean, the
went
50th
there.
anniversary.
50th anniversary.
That was in
Because you gave me a little button of one of the spaceships, and I don't have it on, but I still wear that button on my lapel.
Oh, kind of
that
you. Thank you very
gave me.
much.
But I
That
was
was the
really
50th
gratified when I saw Steven Spielberg's version, and then when they were all running up the hill, running away from the Martians, and there you were, and there Gene Barry was. So Steven reached out and cast both
Yes.
of you in there. That
He
was
wanted,
nice.
he was looking for the original. It
Yeah.
seems that when he was a little boy, he had a crush on Sylvia. And so he wanted Sylvia back in the movie again. And if you ever notice it, pay attention to any movie that Steven Spielberg does, somewhere a girl's name is Sylvia.
Really? That's
Somewhere it is.
interesting.
No, I'm sorry, I've sort of gotten off the question that you had.
No, I was just saying it was gratifying to see you and Gene Barry
Well,
together again in
I
the
was
new
grandmama.
version. Yeah, you were
I
grandma
was
on
grandmama,
War of the Worlds, so
yes.
that was terrific.
Oh, no, I was quite pleased.
Yeah,
And he
yeah.
told me that in the version, in that the E.T. movie,
Right.
where the little monster puts his hand on Elliot's shoulder,
Mm-hmm.
when I first met Spielberg, he said, I dedicated that to you. And
Oh,
I could have
that's
sworn
nice.
electricity came off the end of his
That's
finger
nice.
because he said, I did that for you.
Oh,
And I
that's
thought, what
sweet.
a wonderful, lovely
That is so
tribute for me.
sweet. That is so sweet. Well, I'll tell you what, you were here, I think, 6 or 7 years ago for the Glass Wall. It's terrific, and it has been such a
thank
pleasure having you here, and it was so great to show Dragnet, and we'll come up with another movie. If we do the Sci-Fi Festival,
I
show
hope
War of
so.
the Worlds,
Oh,
we'll
no,
have you back
I would
here.
love to come back.
I put it together for Enron, and thank